Daniel Daly here. Hello. Chronicles of an Age of Darkness, Volume 8, The Werewolf and the Wormlord by Hugh. It's fantasy adventure. Fantasy, so it's like Dungeons and Dragons and King Arthur with Merlin and the stuff. Sword and sorcery. This book was first published in 1991. Corgi edition published in 1991. I think the first published edition would have been Colin Smythe or something like that, the hardback edition. It would have been a hardback, most likely. I read all 10 volumes which were published. There was more planned. All 10 volumes back when they first came out, in chronological order as well. This one's Volume 8. Volume 6 and Volume 7 were quite sarcastic. Volume 8 and Volume 9 are more regular, more down-to-earth fantasy novels. They don't particularly stand out in my memory as something super fantastic. But Volume 8, I remember I'm pretty sure it's on Yestron or something like that. Eudonic Nights or something like that. I do remember this had a feel to it. I do remember that I enjoyed the novel. I enjoyed all 10 of them. This one wasn't super spectacular, but it was reasonably good as well. I'll read the blurb from the back. You travelled by night. Alfric kept his face blank. This was no time to show impatience, but Alfric liked to do business in an efficient manner, and not for nothing was the king known as he who talks in circles. Night is a strange time to travel, continued King Dimple Dumpling, particularly when night is her chosen time. My duty bids me to rule the night, said Alfric. I cannot permit her forays to keep me from the dark. I am a Eudonic knight, who fears nothing, said the king. When one hears dry irony from the lips of an ogre, it is hard to credit one's ears, but Alfric, who knew ogres better than most of his kind, did not underestimate them. On occasion, Alfric Dambrog, a banker by profession, found it hard to live up to his Eudonic heritage, yet he was called upon to face not only ogres, dragons, assassins, and she who walks by night, but, worst of all, more senior bankers. Now, Alfric, this is obviously where I've remembered the name Alfric from, because I used him as a character in my Lucy Potter stories, which is Harry Potter fanfiction somewhat as well. She's a cousin of Harry Potter. Noahide Books at Age of Fire, you can get the links there. So that's Volume 8. I normally, in these reviews that I'm doing, I don't think this one has a map, but no, it doesn't have a map. But I read a selection, an excerpt. I'll start with Chapter 1. Touching that monstrous bulk of a whale or orc, we have received nothing certain. They grow exceedingly fat, insomuch an incredible quantity of oil will be extracted out of one whale. Lord Barkin, History of Life and Death. So that's a quote at the beginning. It is an undisputed truth that a man with weak sight must be in need of an ogre, for, as all the world knows, ogres are by far the best occultists. Therefore, it is not surprising that on each of his annual visits to Kinjocks with a Q, Alfric Dambrog took the opportunity to have his eyes retested and to get a new pair of spectacles ground to his prescription. Shortly after his 33rd birthday, Alfric made his 5th such venture into the mountains. On this occasion, the speckled banker took from a large carven box. This was a gift of the Ogre King, and inside there were 20 pink mice, 5,000 dead fleas, 30 chunks of cheese, and 7 dragons. Now, well, a lot of it's quite similar language throughout the Chronicles of an Age of Darkness, because it's a saga, it's a series, it's the same universe. Some are more serious and some are more sarcastic and more witty. This is a slightly more serious story. It's somewhat a novel in a regular sort of drama novel somewhat as well. It's certainly fantastical. It has its fantasy elements. It's definitely Chronicles of an Age of Darkness material. But it's a little bit more sedate than the previous two offerings, Volume 6 and 7, by quite a bit. Volume 9 is the Worshippers of the Ways, an action novel more than anything else. Quite a bit of action in that one. Obviously, they've all got action, but it's a traditional sort of action sort of novel. So that's volume 8, The Werewolf and the Wormlord. I don't really remember the details. I read this a long time ago. If you want to check out more videos by myself, you can do a search on this channel. Type in Noahide at the end of your search. Hugh Cook, Chronicles of an Age of Darkness. There's only so many videos on Hugh Cook on YouTube anyway, so. But not hard to find my videos if you want to do them. I've got 2 channels for Hugh Cook on YouTube. But generally worth the effort. If you're fussy and demanding on your fantasy literature, you might not necessarily want to read every volume in the Chronicles of an Age of Darkness. It also depends on the kind of story you like. For regular standard fantasy, this is not bad, and bankers might like it because it's involving a banker, and knights and things like that. So if that's your cup of tea, all well and good.